G'day, welcome to this episode. This episode I'm going to just concentrate on getting the body ready for applying the 2K primer. So let's get into it. All right, before I get into the door, to the top of the roof, I'm going to revisit this door. In the process of heating and shrinking this metal, it's actually got quite a big undulation in it, so you get about three or 4 mil, maybe more. So I'm going to have to pull this out. So I'm going to use the slide hammer and some of those metal keys and stuff to get this out. Once that's done, it'll be onto the roof. Then I've got another little hole on the other side that I'll patch. And then it'll start. I'll start to mask up this room and ready for the high fill primer. So I'll start with the door and we'll go from there. All right, so I've just welded that row of keys onto here. I just thought I'd keep it as like a sandwich of keys because this is quite a large section. So I sort of want to pull, the whole thing out at once. And I think having them individual would create, small highs and lows. So I'm just going to try this method because I have seen something similar done and see if we can pull this out. So I also heat the metal up first. I was told that a good tip is to heat metal up, get the moisture out of it as well, you get better welds. And so also I might heat this up, and it's probably going to draw it back a bit, but at least it'll soften the metal up with my butane. And then use the slide hammer to try and get them out. So let's give that a go. So I've managed to still got a low spot there, as you can see, and there. It's stubborn and it's tin canning again. So still a bit of work on that door, but it's definitely improved. That's for sure. It's a lot gradual. It was really bad, so it's rough here now, but what do? It's not going to rust out. So I said this, I'm learning as I go, and I saved myself getting a new door skin, and body fill is going to clean up the rest. I say that all the time, but that's what it's for. So yeah, I just want to get it to a level that's not disgraceful. So at the moment, that's still not good enough. Still too deep, so I have to pull out some more here. And there was a couple of different methods I've been using. One with a multi-grip, and just clamping it and pulling that up and then hitting the highs along here. And that was sort of bringing that out. Tried that and seemed to have got some mixed results. So we'll see, we'll continue on this. But I'll probably move on from the door soon because it's taking me forever. And I've moved on to the quarter panel. And this is where I did that door to wheel arch panel ages ago. And when I tried to hammer and dolly the line out, I made a bit of a meal of it. So I've just been going back and smoothing that out. And it looks, from a distance, it looks like there's lots of hammers marks. There's a low here, which I'm just about to pull out. And I'll pull this low out here as well. And then I'm just getting a hammer and dolly and just doing heaps of little taps and just finessing all those little bumps out. And it's pretty smooth. So I'm getting reasonably happy with that. All right, so I sort of boxed myself into a corner with this door repair here. I've just done the key method over and over again and try to get this big depression out. It's still 5 mil out here. It's just I can't live with it. So as much as you could fill it up with body filler, I just think it's too much. And yeah, as I said, this was a patch repair that was it used to be good, and I'm not too sure what's happened, but during the course of that repair, it's shrunk this whole section and sunken in quite bad. So the only way I can really get it out is to apply force from behind, and I can't get to it because one, the door's on the body still, and two, the inside door skin is in the way, so I can't get a good purchase on smacking it out. So I'm probably going to go and do something drastic. There's a speaker hole on the other side, you can see down there, that's already been cut out. So I'm thinking I might just continue that cut out and give me some space to get a hammer in there or a block of wood. And I'll take the door off, put it on the bench, and I'm going to go to town on the inside of this and just see if I can get it out, that 5 mil. Because otherwise it's going to be as drastic as recutting this out and starting again, so which I don't want to do. So I'd prefer to then cut a bit in the inside of the skin and re-weld it back in after I'm finished, and which you'll never see anyway. And that shall fix my door, and then I can move on to the rest of the car. I'm happy with this section here. Actually, I've brought these. There's a low here. It's still going to be hammer and dollied there, but this was all quite rough. I think I spoke about this earlier when I first did that patch repair. You can see the line, but I'd hammer and dollied the crap out of it, and it was pretty rough. So I've gone through and done small hammer marks and got the dolly in behind there. I've brought that right out. That was quite low in there, and there was low in there, and it was very ripply. So that's pretty good now. So I'm just going to leave that and refine it with, once I do the 2K primer and the body filler. And then the roof. So as I discussed earlier, those sections still need to be done. I've done 2 there. And then I'll get to them after I've sorted this door out, because it's doing my head in and it needs to be sorted. So, all right, we'll start by taking it off and get on the table, and we'll go from there. So an update on the door. I ended up cracking the shits with it and just cutting it out and starting again. So I couldn't get the whole patch. So this section here is still a bit mangled, but at least now I can get the proper profile instead of that big sunken patch. So it's better than it was before. And it's also allowed me to get under here and pull all this low section up in here as well, so, and here. So it's pretty good now. I've obviously got to finesse that, but I haven't lined it up yet. But yeah, it's all up, not sunken down. And that will be the end of that door, and then I can prepare that for the high fill. I'll do one door. I'll do this door and the body high fill as well. And then the other door still needs repair, so I'll do that at a later stage. But yeah, so I'm just going to get this patch welded in now, and then we can move on to the roof. new patch is in. And yeah, it's better, but it's not perfect. So I'm just going to admit defeat with this door and accept that I'm going to have to level it out with some body filler. So I think it's just, if you could afford a new skin, I'd probably recommend getting a whole new skin to avoid this kind of thing. But, doing a patch here in such a sort of defined area of the door, there's quite a weird arc here and then a flat, and that where a spares panel doesn't have the same kind of arc. So I tried to do it, but even when you think you've got it, you put it in, it's sagged from about sort of here down probably about 3 or 4 mil. So you really have to try and pull this whole thing out, and it's just, you end up doing more damage than it's worth. So trying to doing that last time with the hammer method, I made an absolute meal of it. And that was the end panel after their practice welds, actually, I was doing before. But yeah, you can see, just damaging all the metal, trying to get those highs and lows out. And unless you can get a dolly behind there afterwards to even it all out, it ends up being a dog's breakfast. So I'd just prefer to get a nice clean gap. I couldn't make the whole thing, so there's a little bit there, but the beauty of that is I could get the hammer and dolly in and smooth it out, and I'm really quite happy with the join. I've just tacked that in, and I actually ground the tacks right back, just so that I can manipulate the remaining metal and blend it in a little bit more. I find that's probably the better way to do it than just to weld them all in and then grind them all back and find that you're out. So this way you can see if there's a little high and low, and then you've still got some space to get the hammer and dolly under there and manipulate those that panel. But that's as far as I'm going to go on that door, because I've got to move on and finish all the other stuff. So body filler will fix the rest of that up, and yeah, if you're a real stickler for body filler, then I'm sorry to disappoint you, but yeah, I'm learning, and this is one of my first doors, so maybe the next one I'll do it better, but for now that's going to do. And yeah, I'm happy with that. So moving on to the roof next. So here we go. All right, so back at the door. Same scenario, I've been through this a few times, so I'm just going to do the key method again and eliminate all these bumps. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so they're done. Just put a bit of etch primer. I just got the hammer over. After I'd done it, I've just got the hammer over and just got rid of the highs. It's not perfect, but I should get a t-shirt made saying it's not perfect. It seems to be my disclaimer, but it's pretty good. So all those lows, those big lows are gone now, and it's just, yeah, sitting reasonably similar to the original. So once again, finish it off with body filler and you'll never know the difference. So next we are moving on to this last patch repair on the just near the fuel tank, which I'll show you now. All right, so this is the last patch repair to be done on the body. I've explained this earlier in one of the start videos, and it's probably not going to make it it's probably going to make it a little bit harder to understand because the ute's currently upside down. The only reason I'm doing it upside down is because I can't be bothered flipping it around. The light's better on this side, and all the tools and stuff are on this side. So instead of turning the whole rotisserie and moving all my tools around to the other side, I'll just do it upside down. It might give me another perspective on this repair anyway. So pretty standard. It's near the fuel cap, I would say, and I'm just speculating, but I would say someone's lent On a building site or something, something's fallen, like a crowbar example, or something has fallen, slipped off and banged on the on this section here, and it's left untreated. Then obviously it was rusted through, little pinhole. When this was repaired 8 years ago, also they just bogged over it. So this is what came out after I removed all the bog and the paint, and I just got a little Dremel tool and I started to etch out all the rust bits. So that was earlier on. Now I know how to patch repair. I'm just going to literally make a little patch like that and repair it. The profile's pretty straight, so I don't consider this to be a hard job at all. In fact, I reckon it'll be done in half an hour. So without further ado, I'll get into it and start forming up the patch. All right, all done. Yeah, pretty happy with the way that came out. It's almost seamless. Just got a little area, 2 areas there, a little bit low. But all in all, pretty happy. It did go down a bit. I think the panel's heated, it sort of dropped a bit. Seems to be the case with all this panel wear. Once you start grinding, it can suck the panel back a little bit. So it's very annoying, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So, yeah, I can actually get in there behind there, so I'm going to work it out a bit, push it out a bit, and should be fine. That's it for the bodywork. I'm just going to realign the whole ute, put it up the right way, and take the other door off. And then it's preparation for turning this whole room into a temporary spray booth to finally get the 2K primer on the shell and maybe that one other door once it's fully welded. So I'll start by turning the car over and then we'll go from there. Couple of things I wanted to mention actually about the build in advance of actually doing the bodywork. We're getting to the engine eventually, and so played around with this this poll voting option you have on YouTube, and I put a few questions on there about the engine and what people think I should do with it, and I put a few options of it on it, and there it is down there. And the options were put a LS1 in it with a T56 gearbox. Stupid option like twin turbo, the 308. The other one was rebuild the 308 to a 355 stroker and leave the turbo 350 gearbox in it because everything's there. It's all bolted. It's come out. It can go back in. So I think for my first build, the sensible thing would be to use what I've got and clean it up, recondition it, and put it back in. But I like to sort of push the envelope a little bit, so I don't want to just put the same old 308 in there because that's not a challenge and not fun. So I'm going to go with, and the voting poll came back with the 355 stroker and turbo 350 gearbox. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try and do it myself, but I'll get to that further down the track. So the other thing was we had the local car show 2 weeks ago, which went off really well, and didn't meet anyone down there, but if anyone did roll up, even though it did have a forecast rain, it was a good show and good meet and some good cars down there. I bought the shitbox car and spoke to a few people about the journey of the shitbox, and yeah, it was a good day. So if we'd had better weather, I reckon we would have got 150 cars. There was 100 cars there, and that's the very first car show for our tiny little town, and we're pretty stoked with that. So there's I think there's some big things to come with that in the future years. If we get some good weather, I reckon it would be a sellout. So come down if you didn't go this time. Come next time. Anyway, that's it. I've crapped on long enough. So yeah, the next episode is completely dedicated to getting this spray booth and spraying it, and I'm hoping to get that out quicker. The days turn to weeks for these things. I don't know how people get these episodes out so quick. I struggle to get one a month. So anyway, as per usual, if you like the series, give us a thumbs up. If you like this episode, give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't, subscribe and follow the whole journey. And